My name is Jerry Colonna, and
I've Got a Secret, presented by Winston, America's best-selling, best-tasting filter cigarette. Yes, Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should. Now, Winston Filter Cigarettes bring you America's #1 panel show, I've Got a Secret, starring tonight, Henry Morgan.
Thank you. Of course, it's a little bit of a surprise to me, too. Look, if you see this man, keep away from him. He's contagious. Unfortunately, that's a little bit true. Our boy Gary had a touch of the Asiatic flu, and I'm very happy to say he's recovering nicely and probably be up and around tomorrow or in a day or two. Anyway, he's resting comfortably, and I have a phone that they're still tinkering with here a little bit. I have to go down there and use it? All right. We'll call Gary the moment I introduce our panel. Panel, ready for introductions?
Yes.
First is Mr. William Cullen. Next to Mr. Cullen is a lady who has a lovely write-up in TV Radio Mirror this week with her husband, Mr. Steve Allen, Jane Meadows. And next to Jane is happy Carl Reiner, who is very kindly sitting in for Henry Morgan, who is not with us tonight on the panel.
Pleasure.
And next to Carl is a lady who has a piece in this month's Esquire magazine, a piece about love, Miss Faye Emerson, and that's our panel. Well, we'll try. Let's see how this works. Garrison's up and about. I imagine it's this phone, isn't it? Okay. Hello? Operator, would you get me Gary Moore? It'd be funny if I got a busy signal, wouldn't it? This is so carefully prearranged, I know it isn't going to work. Hello? Oh, it's not ringing yet. Oh, I'm very nervous. We're paying for this time, you know. It's not the dime call, it's the television time that's worried me. Wait a minute, you're going to try it another way. Oh, this is modern science at its best. Hello? I'm afraid to say hello. She keeps saying, wait a minute. Panel, make talk among yourselves. This was a wonderful idea when they first thought of it. They said, why don't you phone Gary at the beginning of the show, see, and he's home there, and he'll talk. Hello? Yeah. Gary, you asked me how I am. How are you? You're reasonably miserable. Gee, you don't sound too happy at that. Wait a minute, Gary. It just went on PA. Trade talk for public address system. Who's babbling in the background? Hey, you know what we got on the public address system, Gary? This will amuse you no end. It's supposed to be you and me, but it ain't. It's the phone company. Hey, I tell you what, kiddo. We'll play the game as best. You're watching TV?
Yes, I'm watching from my bed of slight pain.
What show are you watching, Gary?
I'm watching the Kraft Theater. It's on NBC. Good thinking, boy. Well, look, if you can catch secret, try, and
we'll get back to you later, all right?
All right, Henry, I tell you, I think this is a good idea, but I think it's just going to louse you up. So why don't you leave me alone so that I may leave you alone, and I will sit here and watch entranced.
Yeah, but how about the commercial?
I'll help anywhere I can. I'm just standing by on the phone.
Yeah, but you don't want to be called again?
Call me if you like.
All right, if you're up to it, I'll call you back.
Well, I'm up to it. All right.
Okay.
Good. Bye-bye.
Hey, it worked, didn't it? Now, for I've Got a Secret, may we have our first contestant, please? Now, sir, if you'd move in toward me just a shade.
I'm with you.
And would you tell me your name and your occupation, please?
Well, I think at the moment I'd say I work in motion pictures and television. I'm a cop. My name is Bradley Crawford on Highway Patrol.
I see. And now, sir, if you'll whisper your secret to me at the same time, we'll show people at home.
I know he's ill, but do I have to look at it?
Your secret, sir. Uh-huh. Oh, panel, you're supposed to be blindfolded. I forgot because of the phone call. Please put on your blindfolds and don't turn around. Fortunately, I thought of it in a nick of... Bang. All right, now hold still. Just 1 second. Just a second. Okay. Now, panel, the clue, such as it is this concerns something that Broderick Crawford is doing. And, Jane, let's start with you.
Rod, whatever it is that we're not supposed to see, is it a human being that has been added to the stage?
Good heavens, I hope so.
Is it a...
Oh, wait a minute. Folks, it isn't really a human being who's been added to the stage. Well, you know, not in the terms
Is it plural? Would there be human beings that have been added?
No.
Or part of a human being?
No.
Is it an object of some kind?
Uh-huh.
This inanimate object, is it a mechanical object?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that's $20 down, and $60 to go, and you can take your blindfold off, Janie, if you want, and Carl, we go to you.
This object that has joined us, it's not Sputnik, is it? Or was...
No, this has nothing to do with Russia.
No. All right, Sputnik, whatever it's called.
I can't pronounce it either.
Is this object something that you own, that you brought from home?
No.
It's nothing you... Have you ever seen one of these objects before?
Oh, definitely.
It's a very... I've seen one before. Have I?
I hope.
All right. Is this object doing anything? Is it moving? It's very quiet if it's moving. Well-oiled.
Let me...
You take that one, huh?
I'll be your lawyer here. In a way, it's moving, Carl. But you...
In a way it's moving?
Yeah, you could...
You mean it doesn't know it's moving, huh?
No, I don't know, Ed.
Is it...
Sorry,
does it have any moving parts?
Brian?
Yes, it has moving parts.
Which is $40 down and $40 to go, and you can take your blindfold off, Carl. And Faye, it's up to you, dear.
Henry, as they pulled the curtains apart and before I was blindfolded, I saw something. Perhaps I was not supposed to see it. Had I better disqualify myself?
No. Well, nah, don't disqualify yourself.
Well, I saw a television set.
Okay.
Now, should I have disqualified myself?
Well, I'll know better by your next question.
Well, the television set has something to do with Brad Crawford's secret?
Brian?
Yes, it does.
Is the television set receiving this show, or by any treasonous turn, is it receiving another one?
It's not receiving this one.
It's not?
It's not. Not receiving this one, no.
Oh, I know. You couldn't be doing that.
Well,
You're not
you
watching
know-
your own show.
Yes, he is.
You're not.
Oh, dear. Faye, this is, I think, maybe a kind of first in television. Brad is watching Highway Patrol, which is his own show, which is on in New York City twice a week. One time is now opposite I've Got a Secret. It's on WPIX.
And
not
believe me,
broad
the
there now,
competition
is
is very tough.
That's not
Thanks.
broad.
No, that's the other
I
fellow.
could have said something, but I wouldn't.
We want to thank WPIX, incidentally, for allowing us to do this. Brad, Faye done very noble there. Here are your Winston cigarettes, which will do nobly by you.
You're too sharp.
Here's your little too sharp, $60. And just a minute. For those long winter evenings, man, play I've Got a Secret with somebody. And thanks very much
I
for coming
certainly
in.
will and tell Gary to get well soon.
I will do that. Well, in just a second, we'll meet our next contestant. Of course, at this point in the show, Gary usually does the commercial. And tonight, I'm going to sort of do the commercial, but as I've arranged with Gary, I'd like to consult with him on it. Now, I have some notes here on a card. We'll try this phone call thing again and see if it works. Oh, boy. It's a grave responsibility. Operator? You got the idea now? I'd like to talk to Gary. This is very important because of the commercial part of the thing, see? I know it's about Winston. I mean, anybody knows this. But I like to say it's neat. Winston, cigarettes. It's a cigarette which tastes, Gary? Now I'm getting those annoying beep. Gary?
Yeah, I'm here.
I'm up to
Winston Taste. Splendid as a smoke ought to.
Gary Moore?
Yes.
Yeah, it tastes splendid. Let's see, I got another note.
Good, like a cigarette should.
Good, yeah, like a cigarette should. I got that part. Notice the Winston filter I have. I'm supposed to be holding one. On the outside, it's smooth, real smooth.
It's, Henry, on the outside it's cork smooth.
Yeah, cork smooth, and on the outside, it's...
No, on the outside it's cork smooth. On the inside it's snow white.
Snow White is on the inside. I know that part. Snow White. And about the Winston flavor?
Sterling.
Sterling flavor, yeah. And they taste good like a cigarette should. I know that part. Buy them, you'll enjoy them. Is that it?
Well, main object is that everyone should go out and buy several dozen cartons, all of which will contribute to the general goodwill of the country.
The Winston cigarette would.
Yes.
Gee, Gary, it'd be very interesting if lying there in your sick bed, you get applause for doing the commercial.
I doubt it.
That's pretty sneaky, isn't it? And now may we have our next contestant, please? Panel, we won't give you this gentleman's name because, of course, if you know his name, you'll know all. So we'll call him Mr. X. And Mr. X, if you'll whisper your secret to me at the same time, we'll show it to people at home. Panel, to help classify this secret, it concerns something he did, and Bill will start with you.
Are you a righty?
Am I writing?
Uh-huh.
No.
A right-hander?
Yes.
You're a right-hander?
Bill, I think
just
you better
asked you.
pass.
I intend to, Henry, as soon as I have a little plan, as you probably know. I have an expert here. Jane has been studying all week. And you're a right-hander, and you participate, sir, in some kind of sport, I imagine. Is that right?
That's right.
Uh-huh. Well, there's only one sport that is important now to everybody, and I'm going to pass to Jane and tell her, give her the hint. It's hockey, dear.
I think I should tell you that we know that Jane has been studying this past week because she told our executive producer today that she knows even now that at least one of the home runs was hit by a Henry Barron.
She has that written down. I was going to call it.
Henry Barron.
I have written down here the runs that were scored today. Did you bring in a run today?
No, I never.
He prevented a few, dear.
Oh, I'm absolutely lost.
I'll give you a hint.
Are you with the Yankees?
Yes.
Are you a pitcher?
Yes.
Did you? I don't trust you, Bill Colonna. I wouldn't say anything you told me. It is not Matheson. Is it? See, I don't trust him.
No, I didn't say that.
Now let's see. You pitched today?
Yes, I did.
The headlines. Buell was one. Buell was one, right?
Very good. Jane.
Very good.
Very good.
What was the other?
She just
Is there
traded-
such a word as Turley?
There's such a word. There's such
I
a
mean,
man.
name?
There's such a man.
Are you Turley?
Yes, I am.
The winning pitcher for the Yankees.
Jane, you are adorable.
See, I have been studying all week.
And it paid off, didn't it?
Yes, it
What was
did.
the final score, dear?
3-2 in favor of the Yankees.
Right. Right. You are absolutely magnificent, Mr. Turley. You, of course, were magnificent. Here's a carton of Winston cigarettes.
Thank you.
Here is practically no money. This represents $20. And the panel has chipped in, Bob, for a special gift. We gave Mr. Crawford a gift, and we have a little gift for you. It's something that every ball player should have. It's a razor. That's sort of an indoor joke. I didn't know whether that thing would work or not. Panel, I'm going to have to ask you to leave the stage for a little bit of trickiness. No, don't take the blindfold, dear. We'll get around to that. And we'll meet our next contestant in just a moment. But now let's look at our Winston movie tonight. This is the one that starts with some hijinks set to music.
Winston tastes good like a cigarette should. Winston flavor, full, rich tobacco flavor. Winston tastes good like a cigarette should.
The little cartoon you've just seen makes a pretty important point about Winston. This cigarette puts fun in filter smoking. I mean it. Winston brings you the fun of real tobacco flavor, the kind of flavor you may be looking for. See for yourself why Winston is the most popular new brand in cigarette history and the top-selling filter cigarette in America today. And here's something extra. Yes, Winston now comes in a crush-proof box or regular pack. Take your choice. Winston tastes good, like a cigarette should.
Now I'd like you to meet a gentleman who is a great favorite of mine, and I'm quite sure of yours. He's going to be on Pinocchio this Sunday night on another network. Mr. Jerry Colonna. Lovely to see you.
Thank you.
You have a special buddy going to be on Pinocchio with you, too.
Oh, yes, indeed, Henry. My very, very dear friend and neighbor. Mickey Rooney is the star of Pinocchio, and it'll be on next Sunday from 6:30 to 7:30 New York time.
And for once, a great children's program is going to be on early enough for children to see it.
That's right.
Hey, you look lovely in that mustache.
Oh, I feel fine. I'm glad you brought that up, you know. I think everybody, Henry, I think everybody should have a mustache.
Well, most men have thought about it one time or another. I think everybody wonders what he'd look like in a mustache.
Oh, who said men? I mean everybody should have a mustache.
Everybody. What do you propose to do about that?
Well, you know, Henry, I've spent many years drawing mustaches on people in the ads and buses and subways, you know. So tonight, I thought with Halloween coming up soon, I'd like to draw some mustaches on you and your panel.
It sounds a little chancy. Let's see what happens. Would you send the panel back in, please, and we'll see how they do with your secret about now they can hear me now. Panel? Panel? They're a little reluctant this evening. I wonder why. Ah, there, folks. Panel, would you please put your blindfolds on? Yeah, for a little light bit of whimsy.
Now we do?
Now. Now is a nice time, and I'll tell you that Jerry Colonna's secret concerns something that he is doing, and Bill, if Jerry will start, we'll start with you.
Jerry, is this thing a physical thing you're doing?
Yes, it is, Bill. Mm-hmm.
Well, knowing your past, and it was a very favorable one, does it have anything to do with music, Jerry?
Does it have anything to do with what, Bill?
Music?
Music?
Uh-huh.
No, not really.
All right. Are you doing whatever it is you're doing, Jerry? Are you doing it to Henry?
Yes, I am, Bill. Uh-huh.
Serves him right. Are you changing, and this is asked more in hope than in anything else, are you changing Henry's appearance at all?
That's awfully sweet, Bill.
Somewhat, yeah.
That's $20 down.
Is he? I didn't hear the answer.
What, Jane?
Is Mr. Colonna changing your appearance in any way?
Oh, sort of. It's your turn anyway. Bill, you can take your blindfold off.
Oh.
This thing that you're doing to Henry, would it have anything to do with...
That was a good question.
Could I pass?
Does it have anything to do with something that you are famous for, such as your mustache?
It might, yes. It might have something to do with
And now you're doing it to Bill?
Yes, a little bit.
Are you drawing mustaches or putting mustaches on Henry and Bill? You're not going to come believe, are you?
Jane, I want to tell you something.
Yes?
You can take your blindfold off, honey. You are a program killer. You ruin programs, Jane.
Is he coming near me?
Well, that's the way it was. That's the way it was planned.
Are we allowed to take this off?
Yeah, you might as well. It's gone.
Henry, this reminds me of a play that was famous about 50 years ago called Mother Wore a Mustache. Do you remember?
Very well.
Henry looks wonderful with one.
I drew a pretty good one on Henry, didn't I?
I didn't get any. I must have one.
We got to give one to you. Very good.
Of course, the object of the game originally was to get to Faye.
Faye?
And unfortunately, you guessed it. But do you have a mustache?
Sure I do. Didn't you put one on me?
Yeah,
I
you're
put
adorable.
a Fu Manchu on you.
You also have a
little
goatee.
goatee right in there. Just
Jerry, that was,
Tickles.
May I see how it feels to kiss a woman with a mustache?
Jerry, the game would have been a little more fun if we could have surprised you no home. But we didn't. But here are your Winstons and the money,
Thank you
and
very
thank
much.
you for the fun.
God bless you, and thank you all.
Thank you all. Now,
Henry?
yes, dear.
May I have a good time? You know,
Have we got time? We're going to do a different program for the rest of
He must look awful. I don't know how I look.
What, dear?
But I remember the very first time that I ever saw my picture on a magazine. Well, it wasn't the first time, but it was one of the first times I saw my picture on a magazine cover. And it was really a very pretty picture. You know, they do it up all fancy and add extra eyelashes. And I got so carried away that I went around all over town putting mustaches on my own picture and signing it. And to this day, I bet people don't believe that I actually did it. I drew mustaches on myself all over town. Do I look the same?
I wonder what that means.
You look like a cat.
Yeah, I wonder what your... I don't quite follow the story, but it's nice.
I don't know. I was pleased, but I was also kind of embarrassed, too.
I have a funny story. About that same time, I went around town rubbing mustaches off Faye Emerson's picture. I don't know.
What are you trying to tell me? To call Gary? Ask questions from the audience? Perfectly ridiculous. Why, they know every... Does anybody want to ask a question of anybody on the panel? We just happen to have time.
Because she's too smart.
Jane double-crossed us twice in one night, and, I'll tell you what.
What?
This is a good time to be enormously inventive, and I can't be. We might as well show your picture, dear, so that Faye can say whether this is what it looked like.
May we draw a mustache on that?
You draw a mustache on that.
Put one on Steve.
Put one on Steve. Garrison, I don't blame you for getting the Asiatic flu, but I have a strange feeling that if you were here, the program would have lasted longer. At this point, Gary usually plays the drum or does a dance. Panel, I have a question, though. A question that... Huh? My goodness, it's 7 minutes, isn't it? Carl, I understand from Emissary that you do Shakespearean double talk, and you're on, man.
Oh, thanks. I always wanted a 2-minute show of my own. Shall I do it sitting?
Oh, no, stand. Get in costume. Do anything you want.
Camera follow me?
Bring in supers.
Gee, this is a chance I've always been waiting for.
Hey, listen, Carl.
Yes.
I think we have a special surprise for you.
Yes, sir.
If you do this well, I think we can get you on the Sid Caesar show.
Oh, well, I'll try. Sid, by the way, goes on January 26th on another network. I want everybody to know that. A long time ago, when I was a budding actor, I was called upon to play in a Shakespearean play, and I forgot my lines because I only had 3 days to learn them. And it was Hamlet. And the actor who was supposed to come on stage at a cue I was supposed to give him didn't come on because he didn't hear his cue. Mainly, I couldn't think of the line that would bring him on. So I stayed on stage quite a long time, ad-libbing Shakespeare. And it sounded something like this. I remember the first 2 lines. They said, "Oh, Gertrude, Gertrude, when sorrows come, they come not single spies, but in battalions." So far, so good. That's pretty good, you got to admit, for a comedian. Then, thank you, Henry. Then, the mind went, and I couldn't remember a word, and here's what went on from there. "Very falls of Panaton, the scrate upon the phrase, as I doth pain upon the crail. Lipopol, tail, krelp, and liposnol. I'm waiting for him to come on, and he won't come on. And I, with my very fall, bring forth the case, cape before the strait, and bring the union to the very calls of Pamatol. Did he spake of I know, sire? He braced not the peg, and I did Thank you. 15 years ago, nobody applauded. I lost the job.
Ladies and gentlemen, for the voting, the phone numbers in New York. You know, this is a wonderful opportunity for any one of us to go into something that you've always wanted to say. Take advantage, someone, of this delightful time. Pardon?
Oh.
We know Jane sings in Chinese, but I don't think this is the time for it. But
thank you, Henry.
Our accompanist is not with us.
Henry, I haven't always wanted to say what I'm about to say, but I think it explains something that has been, to use a crude word, bugging me for a long time. Carl said 15 years ago, and this happened in 1942, just about 15 years ago, I went for the first time in my life to see Hamlet. And I'm not sure. I think I caught the same performance because it never has made sense to me since. And I think I understand now how it all happened. That was you, wasn't it?
Yes.
Are you any relation to Fritz Reiner?
No. He disclaims me, and I don't think we're related.
After hearing your Shakespearean double talk, I don't blame him.
I have a peculiar thought. Every once in a while, we of the panel, I don't belong here, of course, have a little meeting. And the producers ask us what's wrong with the show that you think could be fixed. This is...
What a sneaky way to get a raise.
But this is the point. When they ask us, and we're all in a little room, you know, and it's cozy and we're just by ourselves, unanimously, we all get around to this point. We say, well, the way you're running the show, we never get much of a chance to say anything. Tonight, ladies and gentlemen, you have seen a panel that had every opportunity known to man to say something, and we had to get a complete stranger, Carl Reiner, to come in and entertain.
I didn't know your problem.
Closing question.
I wouldn't have done a club date.
Daisy, what'd you say?
Did you have a closing question, I think, which every week we have a closing question if we ever get to it.
Do, as a matter of fact.
This is your big chance, Henry, tonight.
We do. Mrs. Helen Ann Harriman of Flint, Michigan sent us a question. She wanted to know, do you people and me, well, what you making?
I'm cleaning my glasses because Jerry...
Do you have any pets? Was the question the lady asked, and what are their names or something of this sort? Bill, you have any pets?
I had a minor bird that I paid... I'm not sentimental about this because I bought him as a business investment for a show I did on NBC, and he whistled the chimes flat. And I paid $300 for him, as someone conned me into saying, you know, he'd be a good investment and he'd pay me back in spades. I owned him maybe like 3 months, and he had a heart attack. For my $300, he was... It is a terribly sad story, but how do you think I felt when I heard the whole up the flue with $300 and all?
What were his parting words?
Well,
bong, bong, bong.
He didn't have the decency to say goodbye, actually. He just sort of in the middle of the night. He did what
Magnificent. Janie, do you have any pets?
Yes, dear. I have a black poodle called Pierrot, and Audrey and I had him for years, and Steve, unfortunately, is allergic to some dogs, so I had to send my poodle up to live with Mother and Daddy in Connecticut. But
Wait, I got something it's a riot. Now we're short. Gary will be back with a special edition of I've Got a Secret next week. It'll help to launch Hollywood's Golden Jubilee. Yes, it will. It sounds like fun. And Garrison, be very kind to yourself. And until next week, by the grace of God, we'll all be back in this same corner. Good night.
I've Got a Secret is brought to you each week at this time.
Are you watching, you little rascals?
Oh, it's fun, isn't it?
And who subscribes to it?
Go on, push the button.
Think of the fun you could have on the tube.
The tube? Tube.
TV tubes.
That's a lot of fun, isn't it?
It's going to be a lot more fun if you keep going the way you're going.
Go on, push the button.
Please subscribe.
I hope they're watching.